Hi guys, it's Aoife from Fredby's Died Laughing and I'm here with some book reviews for you guys today. So I'm going to be reviewing the first two books in the Song of the Shattered Sands series by Beaulieu. I was very kindly given free e-copies of this book by Beaulieu to review, and it's taken me a while to do it. I read the first one a few months ago and I did talk about that in a weekly wrap-up, and I finished the second one finally this week. So I wanted to do a video of talking about the two books together so I can give you kind of my thoughts on the series so far and where I'm hoping it's going to go and all that kind of stuff. So the first book is called The 12 Kings of Sharon Kai, and as I said, I read that a few months ago, and I'll just briefly talk about that one first. I will also link the weekly wrap-up that I did talk about this book first. So I really love high fantasy. It's been a while since I read a really good high fantasy, so I was really happy when this is kind of actually a series I've been wanting to read for a really long time. So when Bradley emailed me, I jumped at the chance to be able to review these books. So the book is basically set in this city called Sharon Kai, and it's kind of this desert-like city, and the city is ruled by 12 different kings who all work together. And the thing is, these kings are almost immortal. They've been ruling for hundreds of years, and while that's good for some of the population of the city, there are a poor population of the city that really, despise the kings. They don't like them at all. But anytime there is like a rebellion against the kings or any kind of revolt, people are killed mercilessly. So you can have one thing where just a king is attacked but obviously not killed because they don't seem to be able to be killed, but if any of their guards or their special Ceda guards are killed, they might kill 12, 13, 14 people. It could even be children in retaliation to try and make the other population see that there's no point in rebelling against the kings because they'll just die, their family will die, their children will die, etc. So it's quite a brutal world. And this is following a girl called Ceda, who is basically, she hates the kings because they were responsible for the death of her mother. And she has kind of this plan in action to try and kill the kings, try and figure out a way to kill them. And we see her kind of in the first book kind of start to lay all these plans in motion. And she's a really interesting character. She just kind of gets by doing her own thing, but she's also a kind of a gladiator in these fighting pits that are in this city. But the thing is, the gladiators here, they aren't slaves, so they actually they volunteer themselves to be part of these fights. So she is known as the White Wolf, and no one knows the White Wolf's true identity except some of the guys that run the pits. So she is the White Wolf, but no one really knows that Ceda is the White Wolf, but she is basically a terrific fighter, and she just gets into lots of trouble and stuff. She kind of runs things for kind of some bad people in the city. She doesn't really properly work for criminal gangs, but she kind of does some odd jobs for them now and again, and then kind of these things, her plans start to go into action, and she finds herself closer to the kings than she ever kind of thought would be possible. So I obviously don't want to give too much away, but she ends up being in this really close position to the kings and starts getting to know them, but starts kind of figuring out what their weaknesses are and stuff like that. So it starts getting really interesting. These books are absolutely action-packed. There is so many great fight scenes in them. In the first book, I loved the scenes in the fighting pits because I just thought they were really they're just really action-packed. They're really thrilling and exciting. Even though Ceda was good, now and again she'd come up against a person who you would think that they could beat her, and you were just really worried about her all the time. I really love Ceda as a character, and she's just this really great, strong female character. Things I loved about the two first books so far is the amount of strong female characters in it. They both are just jam-packed full of female characters. Obviously Ceda is our main character. She's an extremely strong female character. She's more or less on her own in the world. She does have a best friend called Emery, who is a guy, but more or less, especially with different things that happen in the book, they become very much separated. So she's very much working on her own and for herself for the majority of the books. But she's very strong, but she's willing to learn. She is sure of herself in a lot of different things. There is a set of special guards in this book called Blade Maidens. They are basically like the special guards that are controlled by the kings of Sharon Kai, and they are specially trained. They are like the best of the best of the best. And so we see a lot of them in this book as well. We get to know them a lot better as well, and they're all female, all really strong, amazing characters, and I just loved all of them so much. I really like the world building in this book. We get to see Sharon Kai, but we also get to see some other places. We see there is a city called Quaimir, there is a city called Ishmantep, I think it's called. And well, that isn't really a city, it's more kind of like a hub of selling and buying and selling and stuff like that. It's almost like a massive market that's almost a city. I just felt like the world building in this was really, really good. The history was told really well. For the first book, we get a lot of the history of the 12 kings through Ceda's memories, and through the different things she was told by her mother and different things she learned growing up. And I felt like this was a really, really great way of learning about the kings, because it wasn't just this big, massive info dump where there were like 3 solid chapters of the history of the kings. We got it in like bits, like tidbits, and I just felt like that was an easier way to take everything in and to retain it as well, and I just really enjoyed that, and I just really loved Ceda's memories as well, especially the ones involving her mother, because her mother is just this really intriguing, mysterious character. And even in the second book we still don't have the whole story about her mother, and it's kind of like just this unraveling process with her mother and who her mother really was, what her mother was really doing and stuff like that, and I just loved that. One of the things I really loved about this book is obviously the whole plot, or one of Ceda's main goals in this book is to kill these kings, and at first we were like, we completely agree with her, they're awful, they're killing people mercilessly, they don't seem